One. Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Joelle Phua, and she's a UK life coach who helps women of color overcome self-doubt so they can feel confident and fulfilled. I'm extremely excited to be able to share her story with you today, and thank you so much for coming on the show today, Joelle.
No, thank you for having me.
Interesting. Before we get started, just for any of those watching who are not watching inside of our free community, I just wanted to personally invite you. It's a community where we come and support each other and uplift each other every single day. So if that's what you've been missing in your life in these challenging times, come and join us inside that community. I'll put some links either above or below the video. Now, back to Joelle, what was life like before you got into coaching? What was the catalyst or driver that brought you into the field?
Well, I think with a lot of people, for a lot of millennials, a lot of people in my generation, the biggest question is, what is my life for? What is the purpose of my life? Why am I here on earth, right? You hear that a lot of people around you, and that's just the one question I heard a lot of my peers and what I was asking myself. And I think with a lot of people, we also kind of stumble into this personal development, personal growth world. But I thought, there's actually a different angle to this that a lot of people are missing. And so I have a degree in sociology. So I come from that kind of academic background where I do have a focus on social justice, and I feel like that's a very big gap. And obviously, I'm sure you are, really aware of everything that's been going on with the revival of Black Lives Matter, and the obvious gap of understanding and knowledge that people have on the system, on white supremacy, on things like that there's just a huge gap that the education system obviously isn't teaching us. So I came into coaching with a view to help people who are more oppressed than I am, just marginalized people in general, to be able to connect with themselves and therefore just be more confident and move forward, because obviously our society isn't really helping them do that in the first place.
Yeah. So just thinking about challenges. So what are the main challenges that people are going through? Is it that they're being oppressed, or is it that they just don't understand the meaning of their life, or?
It's a mixture of the both. I think a lot of the times, on the surface, they might feel, oh, I'm just not confident in myself, or I don't know what to do with my life. But a lot of the times what they don't realize is that there's a lot of internalized oppression. And when I say oppression, a lot of this is subconscious, a lot of this is in our minds, because we're so conditioned to this. And, for example, with I don't know what to do with my life, this could come from, with your parents who may be immigrants, or you might be an immigrant yourself, and you think, actually, I've got to have an XYZ job in order to feel stable, feel secure, but inside I still feel a bit lost and confused, and what do I actually, there's literally no meaning in my life, right? And so a lot of the times they come to me with that surface level issue that does have a lot of underlying problems underneath that we also need to deal with.
So, the first step to kind of getting to those underlying issues, because is it to get an awareness, but it's hard to see because it's subconscious, or what can we start to do to reverse that?
Yeah, definitely. The first step, as with a lot of things, is definitely awareness. It's the first step, but not the final step. And with awareness, it's things like, like choosing consciously not to fall asleep into the same kind of lull, the same sort of cycle of being numb to what's really happening. So when you become aware, you actually step back and be like, okay, I'm now committed to not falling asleep to this. And it means that you are also educating yourself on your own, maybe internalized oppression, your country's history with, whatever it is, colonialism, etc. But a lot of the times you need to also think about, how does this relate to myself, and also analyze it. So, be aware of it, analyze it, and then think, okay, right, how does this play into my life? How does this play into my role in society, and also how I just live my life out in general? Because like I always say, your purpose isn't this big weird concept out there that I'm gonna find my purpose in 10 years. No, it's what you can do right now, and it's in your core values, right? So it's not about what you do, but how you do it.
Interesting. right now, a lot of people are kind of stuck with themselves and with their thoughts in their mind, especially as some places are coming out of quarantine, some places are in quarantine, some people are going back into it. What is one of the biggest takeaways you've had from this time?
I think time. Time is definitely a big one. I try to be super aware of the notion of time and how I'm using my time. I think time is just a really interesting concept in itself. It's something that we've just kind of coined and been like, this is a certain amount of time. But actually, time is forever like fluid. And one thing I've realized is actually even more so during quarantine is how much time we really have. And it's not about saying, oh, I don't have time. I'm trying to consciously switch that language and shift it to being like, that's not a priority for me. Because if we find it important, we're going to make time for it. So it's really important to be really super aware of, like we mentioned before, of what you're saying, because that comes out from what's inside of you and how you're thinking and feeling on the inside.
Yeah. Excellent. And just thinking kind of about, as we move out and kind of towards the future, what's the vision for you as far into the future you like to think? Like what do your life look like and what do you want to accomplish?
Well, I used to be, it's a kind of funny question because I used to be, those people who would be like, right, okay, in 5-10 years I want to be here, I want to be there. But the more I live my life, I mean, what little I've lived all my life, the more I realize that actually it doesn't really matter where exactly the destination is, like I said, with your purpose, right? Your purpose isn't a place, it's a continual outpouring of a continual outpouring of who you are and your values, right? So for me, it's kind of, I just want to live my life with a vision to serve and to really uplift other people who are marginalized and oppressed. So that's kind of the vision for my life, to be forever in service of people, even if that means that I am persecuted and oppressed more myself, and so, my vision in terms of my business, I suppose, is, I guess, to go further than one-on-one coaching. And I was doing events before this whole pandemic came around, so I had to move those online. But the vision is to go into events, more in-person stuff, because I feel like a deeper connection and greater shifts can be made when you are in person with a lot of these things, and really create a safe space for people to be able to discuss your feelings, educate on social justice and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of the idea that I have for the next 5-ish years, but we'll take it as it comes.
Nice. And are you working on anything new? I think, as you're saying, kind of transitioning out of or to something more than one-on-one coaching. Do you have anything new coming out?
Yes, I am currently working on a group program, which is a 3-month group program for women of color to, really overcome that self-doubt and move beyond the oppression that we've been conditioned into. And what I've realized, like I mentioned, there's a serious gap in the market, I suppose. So we want to bridge the gap, merge and integrate social justice education with coaching, because for a lot of people, those two are, intertwined. There's no escaping from it for a lot of us. For those of us who aren't white, I suppose, this is literally our life. And so I want to be able to give women of color the tools to be able to feel confident and also unlearn oppressive systems, like subconscious oppressive systems, and to move forward with that. So there will be like 2 components. So like an online self-paced course to get like the education aspect, and also a group coaching course so that we can, have space for discussion and sharing.
Nice. Where can people go to either learn more about you, or where can they go to connect with you further?
So I'm most active on my Instagram. So that's at Joelle Phua _ JoellePhua. _. That's where I am most often. And I'm also on my website at joellephua.com, and my podcast, which is on your favorite podcast players, which is called Let's Talk with Joelle. So that's where you can see more of my face and hear more of my voice.
And, you know, for those listening, in case we do this as like an audio podcast, can you please spell out your name again?
Yeah, sure. JoellePhua.
Nice. Well, excellent. You know, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate getting to know you better and really hearing your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You know, for those watching, you know, hopefully you found this as, you know, valuable as what I did, and, you know, hopefully enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Now, feel free to hit that share button so other people can go get some great value as well. And just once again, if you haven't already joined us inside of our free community, I just want to once again send you an invitation to it. Inside, we support each other every day, and it's basically a mastermind of positive people. So if that's what you've been missing in your life, I would just love to see you in there and personally invite you. I'm going to put some links either above or below the video. Now, have a great day, guys. We're done recording in 3 and 2, 1, and see you guys later.